thanks for joining us again. I'm Heather at Uminami Farm and we're here to give you another update. Today I want to talk about three things. One is pruning cucumbers, one is pruning eggplants, and one is a really cool piece of farm ecology. Let's start with cucumbers. It's not the best year for cucumbers, but they have perked up really nicely. So this is ready now for some of the pruning we would normally do. I'm sharing this partly just to show you what we do, but also in hopes that maybe it can be useful to you in your garden as well. Now, not all cucumbers are exactly the same. This is a variety called Progress. So, you know, you'll have to see if it looks like things are a little bit different on your plants, then maybe check and act accordingly. But this is what we would normally do for the varieties that we grow. So what I've got here on this plant is one nice long main stem, which I'm going to keep on winding around this string. I always wind clockwise. And my goal in pruning this plant is mostly to keep it easy to harvest. If I were to let this plant just grow, we'd have side branches everywhere, all over the ground. I could theoretically tie them up, I guess, but you know, it would get to be a jungle really quick. It would make it hard to find the fruit. And when it's hard to find the fruit can over mature. And then instead of these nice little Japanese cucumbers, you get these like big honking, like zucchini-like things that, you know, it's not as nice to eat kind of a thing. So anyway, so my goal is to keep it easy to harvest while also maintaining a good level of production. So what I have here is one of the side branches, and you can see how actually the plant does produce fruit near to the main stem. So for example, here's one leaf, side branch, fruit right there. But a lot of the fruit actually comes on the side branches themselves. So I never want to cut off the whole side branch. However, like I said, if I let this grow, it's going to become a jungle in here. So what we typically do is we'll look for like 1 node, 2 nodes, and then cut it off after that. Now that's our general practice. I mean, I could theoretically count this as 1 node, but I'm just going to count from here kind of a thing because this one's small. 2 nodes, I would typically cut here. Now, I could, if I want, it's not an absolute rule, so I could, if I wanted to, maybe cut at this 3rd node instead, if I want to let this cucumber finish maturing. It's really just up to you. I'm going to cut here right now, and then it will continue to produce more fruit higher up. And so let's see if we can find another one to do the same thing. Here's a slightly younger side branch. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I hope this shows up well on the video. Here's the main stem, 1st node, 2nd node, right here. And then I've got a cucumber right there. And then here's the continuation of the branch. I'm just going to snip right there. So it might seem like we're actually losing fruit by doing this because I just cut off a young cucumber right there. If you want to keep longer side branches, go for it. Keeping those side branches longer is one way to get more fruit sooner. But as I said, my goal here is to keep this easy to harvest over the long term. These have begun to produce really nicely. If you're in the box program, you might actually start to see some cucumbers in your box from time to time. I'm really hoping that they'll continue to produce well. We do have some odd problems like this one here. I don't know why. It's just a little bit wilty and a little bit weak. We often have this problem. This is something I might try to do some more research on to see if we can get a solution on that. But for now, just trying to take good care of the plants that are doing well. Another piece of work that we're doing these days that might also be useful to you in your garden is pruning eggplants. The method of pruning eggplants we use is called Nihon Jitate, and it's kind of like a 2-liter system. So what we do is we take a good look at the plant, and what we see here is we've got the main stem coming up through here, and then as we come up here we see the first fruit or the first flower, depending what stage you're at. And then just near or below that first flower, the plant splits into 2. So those are going to be our 2 heads of the plant. What that means is we're actually going to go through and take out all these other side branches down here. The reason for this is because if we don't do this, the eggplant is actually going to become very bushy. And that creates 2 challenges. One is that it's hard to find the fruit. The other is that the fruit can actually get misshapen by being sort of pinched in between 2 branches. And so if we take these off, it's going to be both easier to harvest and we will get nicer fruits as well. Eggplants grow very vigorously. They're practically a weed if you give them the right conditions. And so they're going to produce lots more side branches up here on the top part of the plant. So we don't need to be shy to take out these ones down here. Now the reason why I actually broke these off like that rather than cutting them off the way I did with the cucumbers was because if I cut that off, it's more likely that other little side shoots will start to come from there, which will take time and effort to deal with later. Whereas if I break it off, then you know, it will give me a longer time where it stays clean. There's a whole other method that we use for pruning the top part of the plant as it grows taller. It's not ready for that stage yet, so maybe if you guys are interested, I can show that later in another video. So I just wanted to share a really cool farm ecology story. I know a few weeks back, some of you who were in the box program probably heard that we had really bad aphid problems on our crops. So bad that even though we tried really well to wash them, there was still a ton of bugs. We were sending out messages, even at Fujiya, just letting customers know in advance that they would need to wash the crops, or they might want to wash the crops before they ate them and stuff like this. And it was really challenging. It was taking a ton of time for us to wash off these aphids, and in some cases we were even discarding the leaves of the daikon, which most people really enjoy being able to eat. Now, that was 3 or 4 weeks ago. Fast forward to now, and at this point, that same crop that was having a ton of problems actually has almost no problems at all. If you look on these inner leaves, okay, there's one little aphid that was parasitized by a predator. I am not seeing any meaningful degree of aphid damage on the newer leaves. That being said, if I look on the older leaves, see here, here's an older leaf. What you can see here, all of those white things, those are dead aphids that were parasitized by, it's some kind of fly or wasp. I'm actually not sure of the species, but it's another insect that lays their eggs inside the aphid and kills them that way. The whole plant, the whole leaves were covered with those, which are almost impossible to wash off. But the thing is that they did their job, whereas we had a ton of living aphids as well before. Right now, I have to look hard to find a single living aphid anywhere. It didn't happen on our timing, but the predatory insects did do their job. They did get a really terrible aphid infestation under control, such that when the new leaves grew on these daikon, those new leaves are almost perfectly clean and free from bugs. And so I think this is really a testament to the fact that ecological balance can happen. Ecological balance can work. We're sometimes in a bit of a hurry and we don't want to wait the little bit longer that it takes for it to happen, but the predatory insects are able to do their job. We did not import any insects. This is all just natural bugs doing their work. There's also a ladybug you can see here. I've seen some of the ladybug juvenile. Oh shoot, it fell. There you go, ladybug. I've seen the ladybug larvae in here as well too. Oh look, here's one. Here's one. There's a kind of teenager stage ladybug right there. They do a wonderful job of just chowing down on aphids. And so between the ladybugs and the parasitic flies or wasps or whatever it is that they are, they've done a really good job of cleaning up a really big problem. And I just wanted to share that story with you. Thanks for watching. We're just going to keep it short today because it's high summer. We have a ton of work to do, but we will be working mostly outside today. You can see we started growing some cabbages here. Masami's spreading some soybean residue, our favorite organic fertilizer. Others here are doing our weekly seed sowing. And we're keeping on here at Uminami Farm. Thanks for joining us.